you all earlier this week, VJ Edgecombe, right on the precipice of being a star. I said 3 years to be an all-star. Hot damn, he might be in contention for All-NBA third team by the time the season's over. What a performance. And as if VJ Edgecombe weren't impressive enough, Tyrese Maxey drops 40 points, the most ever, for a Sixer in the first game of the season. We had multiple records set. VJ Edgecombe scores the most points in a debut since Wilt effing Chamberlain. Tyrese Maxey drops the most points ever for a Sixer in a season opener. And you people expect me to come on here today and to be calm, to be cool, to be collected? Nay, nay. We are here because the Sixers finally did something good. They did. Daryl Morey still sucks, but he did something good. He did. VJ Edgecombe appears as of right now to be one hell of a draft pick. An absolute bona fide stud. I mean, I know it's just one game, but VJ Edgecombe already has as many made three-pointers in his one game in the NBA as Ben Simmons has had in his entire NBA career, and that may come as a surprise to you, but it is true. The odd thing about it is VJ Edgecombe hit 5 threes in one game. Ben Simmons hit 5 threes so far in his NBA career, which may be over. I honestly was a little bit surprised. On one hand, I was like, wow, Edgecombe really matched that number in one game. And then I thought about it and I went, 5. I don't remember Ben Simmons having 5 3-pointers. I don't even remember having 5 3-point attempts. But it is true. So VJ Edgecombe looks like a stud. Tyrese Maxey looks like a stud. Quentin Grimes, perfectly fine. I am excited for when Jared McCain comes back. The Sixers went up to Boston. They shipped up to Boston, and they exercised some demons. Now, I said on the show earlier this week that you would have to take any win with a little bit of a grain of salt, right? Because we have to be fair here at the Russ Joy Show, and we are always fair on this here program. Boston is without Jason Tatum, but the Sixers are without Paul George. And if you, turned away from the game for a little bit at any given point, you would also think that the Sixers were without Joel Embiid, who was practically non-existent on the night and really was in no way, shape, or form impactful on this game. Which, on one hand, you say, hey, that's great. The backcourt can actually carry. It's not just Tyrese Maxey now. VJ Edgecombe looks like a bona fide stud, a killer, cold-blooded, hit two huge free throws late in that game. And then, yes, he did miss the final 2 free throw attempts. And yes, that could have led to opening the door to Boston to win the game on a shot from anywhere on the court. Yes, that is true. We will acknowledge that. But VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey together is arguably the best backcourt the Sixers have had in I don't know how long. I mean, if this even remotely projects out the same way that Tyrese Maxey continues to take a step, well, then he's very well into stardom, and we knew that already. If VJ Edgecombe, I don't expect him to be a 34-point-per-game player, but if VJ Edgecombe can get you like 22, 24 a game and take some of that additional pressure off of Maxey, incredible. You know, Maxey's a really great player for this team. Maxey is a tremendous finisher at the rim. Maxey has worked on his three-point game. I'm not positive that Tyrese Maxey is a late-game, stone-cold, cold-blooded killer. VJ Edgecombe has that look to him. And it's interesting to watch as Twitter kind of started having the conversation, but you see similarities to Jimmy Butler. You see similarities in the game to Anthony Edwards. I saw some people saying, hey, is there like a little bit of Victor Oladipo to his game? Is there a little bit of Dwayne Wade to his game? And I think all of those are probably fitting and fair. But man, Edgecombe looks so real. And in the first game, and by the way, Boston not having Jason Tatum, true. Al Horford being gone, true. It's still a very talented Celtics team that I still think, even without Tatum, is a playoff team. And if Tatum somehow comes back, either before the end of the calendar year 2025 or early in 2026, they could very well be in contention for a top 5 spot in the conference. They're a very talented team. They happen to be missing their best player, but they are still a very good team, and they're going to win a lot of games. But man, you have to feel good about the Sixers. You do. I mentioned the other day, I thought that Yabusele moving on was going to hurt this team. I still think that ultimately it could. But Barlow, total unsung hero. fantastic. Fantastic against the Celtics. Even if you are a Sixers denier, even if you are a Sixers hater, even if you're somebody who sits back and says, I will believe this when I see it over an extended period of time, it is hard to walk away from Wednesday night's game and feel anything but positive. I mean, okay, let's zoom out for a second. Kelly Oubre, who was once relied on as a reliable scorer on this team, had 10 points. That was it. Dominic Barlow had 13 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Great job by him. Joel Embiid finished the night with 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. In 20 minutes, he was going to be load managed. I have some concerns there. We'll get there in a second. They got 10 points off the bench from Quentin Grimes. Jabari Walker added 6 points of his own. But this was a 74-point combined effort from Edgecombe and Maxey that got the job done. And I will point out that they did it relatively efficiently. But if we talk about Joel Embiid for a second, I'm not feeling so great after Wednesday. You know, the preseason finale, we all looked at it and said, holy shit, Joel Embiid, is he back? I even wondered aloud on Wednesday's show, could Joel Embiid be on an ultimate revenge tour? Like, if Joel Embiid looks like the Joel Embiid in the preseason finale and plays 60-plus games this season, he's going to have a point to prove. He did not prove a point on Wednesday night. He looked out of it. He didn't look comfortable in his own skin. It was not a good performance for Joel Embiid. I don't know what the hell happened between the preseason finale and the season opener. You can only hope that this isn't a showing that for some reason Embiid's body reacted poorly to the preseason finale. Because remember, Daryl Morey famously said they are going to be basing when Joel plays off of how his body feels. His body's going to tell them the story. If that is his body telling the story, it's a bad story. It's actually kind of like a Goosebumps book. Remember Goosebumps when you were in elementary school? Everybody loved Goosebumps. And if you were a 90s kid, you also had Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon. And sometimes you get a little bit scared, a little bit. And you look back on it, you go, should I have really been that afraid? But in the moment, you were petrified. The Joel Embiid of it all right now feels very, very scary. Now, years from now, will we look back on it and say, there was no reason to be that scared? I don't know. I don't want to put too much into the Embiid of it all from Wednesday night, but if that's the Embiid you're going to get more often than not, then it's bad, very bad on the Joel Embiid front. The good news, of course, is that not a lot of teams have dominant centers the way that Embiid has largely been a dominant force on both ends of the court, and Joel Embiid has also been a guy that they've pretty much run the offense through whenever he's been healthy. Giving some time to this backcourt to develop and work together and hopefully rack up some wins could end up being a net positive. Oh, and by the way, if you play this one out a little bit, Paul George, if he's even moderately healthy, all of a sudden this is an even more dangerous team. Can you theoretically get through a season where Joel Embiid isn't 80% of MVP level Joel Embiid and still win a lot of games? You could. It's going to really put a lot of emphasis and a lot of focus and pressure on the guards. But if Paul George is even like remotely useful, this team could still win a lot of games in a depleted Eastern Conference. For them to reach the pinnacle of what they want and need to be, Embiid's going to have to be better than he was on Wednesday night. I'm just a little bit concerned. Like, did his body just not bounce back well from the preseason finale? Like, what was it exactly that led to him looking so uncomfortable on Wednesday night? Amadeo, first of all, did you watch the Sixers opening?
Oh, yes. I actually tell you this. I stood up like in front of the television for like the final 2 minutes. I can't tell you the last time I did that for a Sixers game. 100% not last year because that was all pain. Mm-hmm. But that was very fun to witness. Max, it feels like we're not talking about Maxey enough either. Just like a casual 40 points.
Yeah.
But VJ Edgecombe. Oh, see ya.
There goes Cat. Bye, Cat.
See ya. But VJ, man, that was special. That stud, and I can't wait to see McCain back, man.
I'm not saying that I'm responsible for saying stud, but I might be responsible for saying stud.
And he
is a bona fide all caps stud.
You might like this too because I got this in the mail today.
Whoa! Is that a jersey or a jersey?
Jersey.
Here's the thing about Maxey's game. If we go back to Tyrese, so I sound like Kate Scott now saying first names. Tyrese! Ah! So Edgecombe had 5 threes in the game. He had 13 three-point attempts, which makes you go, So half of his shots came from downtown, but he hit 5 of them. And again, you feel pretty good about it, given that he didn't have a three-point game coming into the draft. Cool. Maxey was incredibly efficient. 7 of 9 from downtown. 13 of 24 overall on the night. 40 points. Wild. Like, absolutely wild stuff. And even if you go back to the idea, and I think Nick Nurse kind of talked about it in the offseason, they don't want to have Tyrese Maxey kind of cornered in or pigeonholed into being the traditional point guard. Like, he believes that Edgecombe, as he works on his handle, is going to be able to be a guy that can handle some ball handling responsibilities. And I know that I keep coming back to like the ifs and the hopes and the will it come to fruition, but like Paul George, for a guy his size, has great handle, has ball handling ability. Paul George, in theory, could be a guy as you end a quarter, maybe not the game, but as you're ending a quarter, you don't actually feel bad about Paul George having the ball in his hands in an ISO. You don't feel bad about it at all because he's not just going to be able to pop a little jumper right before the buzzer, but he's got playmaking ability as well. He can also slash. He can get to the rim. He can pop a 3 from time to time. You start to think about how dangerous this team can actually look if they are to get a Paul George back relatively healthy. And then, of course, Embiid of it all. I don't know. There's part of me that doesn't want to fall into the trope, but I think it's going to happen no matter what. You almost wonder, can Edgecombe and Maxey hit the same level if the offense has to run through Embiid? Or does Nick Nurse say, I'm more likely going to be able to bank on Maxey and Edgecombe playing night in and night out, so the offense has to run through them, and Joel is like a luxury to have? Like, where do you think they're at?
I think it's more of the latter because and granted, they're playing a banged up Celtics team. They don't have Jason Tatum, but they're still a strong team nonetheless.
Yeah.
What you saw from Maxey was basically the driver of the entire offense. Lights out from 3, driving to the rim. His playmaking was there. VJ we didn't expect him to be that good on day one, but also hit the one dunk. He had the one dunk in the first quarter that was just completely insane. And was it the alley-oop from Oubre, I believe it was, where he was basically completely under the basket, almost out of
It
bounds,
looked
but
like he was
find a
past
way.
the rim and still managed to pull himself all the way
Somehow
back.
got,
Yep.
yeah. So those two were the complete driving forces of the offense, with the other complementary pieces around them. And granted, Embiid was not good, but I do think it works to the benefit of Embiid if you have Maxey and Edgecombe as the driving force of the offense, to where not everything has to revolve around Embiid. Because how many years have we talked about when Joel Embiid steps off the court, everything falls apart for the Sixers? Other team goes on a major run, they can't score, they can't stop the bleeding. Last night, it really didn't feel like that. It looked like there was a little bit of sustainability, even when Joel Embiid was in his limited minutes. And granted, I don't know. We're not going to know what version of Embiid we're going to get every single night. That's just, I think, where his body is at this point. You're going to get either a broken down Embiid. You could probably get maybe flashes of what he can be and what his true talent is. I think it works to his benefit, to where he doesn't have to be the main face of the offense. He doesn't have to be the driving force of the offense anymore, just because of where his body is, because Maxey improves every year, and it looks like he's taking another step. Granted, it's only one game, but it's a step in the right direction. If
Yeah.
Edgecombe plays the way that he can, what he did in game 1, granted, he's going to have his ebbs and flows. You add McCain back to the offense, and if he can continue where he left off before he got injured last year, that's a very dangerous thing for your offense, to where you don't have to rely on Embiid as much, and maybe that takes pressure off of Embiid.
You have to hope so. Have to hope so. I think if you can get to a point where Embiid is being expected to get like 15 a game, maybe 20 a game, at least to start, like get to that point the first month and a half into the season. And then as he kind of finds his legs, then maybe he does start to pick up a lot more of the scoring load like you would typically expect. There's so much overreacting you can do. And like, of course, like I started the show and I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm jumping up and down practically right about how good Edgecombe looked, how good Maxey looked. But you have to be fair. It's one game. Like, let's see what this looks like over the next few weeks. Like, let's see. Does VJ Edgecombe continue to play at an incredibly high level that's like so far beyond a rookie that you go, this guy looks like a 27-year-old playing in this league, right? If that's where things go, then you start to feel better. Like, they've got the Hornets this weekend. That should not be much of a game. And that's at home. That's home opener, right? That's on Saturday night. You got the Flyers in the afternoon, right? Matinee. And then you got Sixers at home at night. The Magic will represent a really tough test. Now, the good thing for the Sixers is that game on Monday happens in Philadelphia at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. Then you're on the road against the Wizards. Total joke. Then you have the NBA Cup. Boston comes back to town looking for revenge. Then you're at Brooklyn. Should be pretty straightforward. Bulls on the road. Should be straightforward. November 5th is the game everybody should probably have circled. That's Cleveland. That is the team that ended up with the best record in the Eastern Conference. That is a team that you would fully expect to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference this year. They have some cupcake games in the middle to kind of get Joel Embiid acclimated, to almost give him that ramp up that you're supposed to have in the preseason. If he doesn't look great coming out of, like, let's say November 2nd against the Nets, November 4th against the Bulls, well, that game against the Cavs on the 5th is going to be kind of a nightmare. I mean, they have a very strong backcourt. You have a very strong backcourt in theory. Your differentiator in that kind of matchup should be Joel Embiid, whatever he's going to look like at whatever level. So we will see. Feeling a little bit positive about these Sixers.
I didn't realize they played Boston 3 times in the first month and a half. That is crazy.
It is absolutely bananagrams. It makes no sense. There are times like when you look at schedules and you go like, did somebody take time off? Like, did somebody just like not do their job for a little bit? Like what happened when this schedule was made?